Hello and welcome to Around the Clock. I'm your host, Yolanda Greaves. We are kicking off February with this episode of Around the Clock. We'll be bringing you an update from the Selectmen's meeting that happened on February 7th. We'll be bringing in and speaking with Joseph Richardson, our Director of Public Facilities for the town of Ashland. We, of course, will have our ever-popular Around the Town tour, making a few stops this trip. We'll be stopping at the Ashland Public Library for an event for the kids, sponsored by the Stormwater Management Group. We'll be going to the high school for the Clocker Club Pancake Breakfast. We'll be stopping at the Town Hall for a forum on the dog park. So stay with us and we'll be back with Around the Clock. It's time for the Selectmen's update for the meeting that happened on February 7th. We had a very full meeting. We got to make some great appointments. We talked about the Howe Street poll hearing. We had someone from Enviroscape coming in to talk about the placement of the poles and the completion of the Howe Street landfill solar array project finishing up sometime this spring. We also had another update and presentation from the Stormwater Advisory Committee, and we'll be doing a more detailed presentation of that here on Around the Clock in a future show. Basically, our Stormwater Management Group is looking at new MS4, which is stormwater talk for some new guidelines that are coming in for the federal government. The presentation that they gave is available up on the Ashland Town website. We then were able to make some appointments. Congratulations to Craig Foodie, a Ashland resident who is now one of our police officers here in town, and to Lawrence Rodkey, also an Ashland resident who is now one of our police officers. So if you see these young gentlemen around town, make sure you congratulate them and thank them for stepping up and being part of our police department. We also had a fire appointment, and this was for Ken McDonald. He will be joining our force right away, and it means we're now only one spot away from filling all of our shifts with 5 firefighters per shift, which has been a goal for the town for a number of years. We also had a presentation by Brittany Iacopone, our town accountant. She talked to us about financial monitoring and some ways that we can look at that here in Ashland. She gave us this presentation last year and we were able to look at some changes and trends that are happening. Her presentation is available on the Ashland Town website. 2 things I'd like to note is that if we look at our property tax revenues and how the average tax bill for Ashland is about $7,200, and we're right in the middle of the towns around us, some of equal size, some of a little bit bigger. So that's something to note, that you're getting some good value. And then if we look at expenditures per capita, we're also getting a very good value for our tax dollars. Our budget divided by our population puts Ashland at the bottom of the amount of money that we're spending per individual here in town. And again, that whole presentation will be available on the town website, so you can go through it. And if you have any questions, Brittany would be more than happy to answer them for you. We went over some old and new business. We opened the town meeting warrant for our May town meeting, and we announced that there will most likely be 3 days of town meeting, so put those dates on your calendar. We also had an update on the Complete Streets program. We have a grant where we're prioritizing our projects and hopefully getting some other state funding to help pay for some of the projects that we'll be putting on this prioritization plan. We're working with Green International on that. We appointed 2 members to the Upper Charles Trail Subcommittee. So this will be 2 members of the Board of Selectmen, and then we're going to add 2 members of the Upper Charles Trail to talk about where they are with their project. We discussed the vacancy on the Board of Health. If you are interested in filling out a talent bank form, you can do that to become potentially appointed to the Board of Health. We are looking for people who not only are willing to be appointed, but then potentially run come the spring in the May elections. We opened up our BAA grant round, so if you'd like to apply for our BAA grants, you can do that. We've announced the date of our volunteer breakfast. That'll be in March. And we got updates on the Downtown Streetscape Design Forum, and that'll be happening in March. We don't have a definitive date yet, but we'll be announcing that soon. The town manager has extended the town's sewer moratorium, which means no new projects can get added to our sewers. And that has been extended to June 30th, 2018. We got an update on the Riverwalk project. That's the project over by Ponderosa Road that will be extending and putting some bridges over the reservoir there by the Sudbury River. Some really great news for many people, especially those on the east side of town. We had an update from the Cadillac Paint Project. Those buildings could be coming down as soon as the end of February. We've gone out for bid for that project, so the buildings will come down first, and then they'll do some soil remediation, and then we'll be having discussions, or at the same time, we'll be having discussions about what people would like to see over at the Cadillac Paint area. Then we had a public safety building update, just that things are still moving forward, and we're looking at property to locate that building. It was a great meeting, as always. If you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or any of the selectmen, and our next meeting will be in a couple of weeks. And that's it for the Selectmen Update. Hello and welcome to Around the Clock. Today we are speaking with Joseph Richardson. Joseph is the Director of Public Facilities. Joseph, welcome to Around the Clock.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
So you are our most recent Facilities Director. You've been in the job about 6 months.
Yep.
Tell us, what have these first 6 months been like?
Well, it's been exciting, of course. It's a new job for me, new town, you know, a new team of men and women that keep the facilities moving ahead.
What have some of the real positives been for you coming into Ashland?
Well, for me personally, the drive. You know, even coming from the town of Leicester, it's a better drive than heading up to Fitchburg. But here there's been a great support structure. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a town that's involved in the town. You know, mm-hmm. The people are really involved. The people want to see positive things, so that's really great, and it's great to see people that don't shy away from making an investment in their town. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's tough to pull together money and get projects done or take care of infrastructure or buildings, but I see here that there's a lot of thought and time invested in capital, in where are we going to take it, what needs to be done, and that's always a struggle anywhere. But it's, to me, coming from the outside, there's a good process here. You know, there's a lot of people that have input in deciding what's going to go, mm-hmm. and what we need to put on that plan. So that's been great, and it's great to see that the town has stepped in with the schools, where often schools right. struggle to really meet their capital needs for improvements or taking care of some of the big ticket items, and where here it's been wrapped into a town plan, right. which is great.
Yeah, that has been a real positive, and that, I have to say, that change has happened probably over the last 6 years, yeah. where there's been a real partnership between the general government side and the school side, mm-hmm. to make sure that those capital needs are being met, and how can we work together,
right.
which has been nice
right.
to see. Speaking of those capital needs, when you got here, what mm-hmm. are some of the things that you saw that maybe surprised you, or you were like, okay, this is typical in a school or in mm-hmm. public buildings?
Well, I came from a city, and mm-hmm. I was the director for all the school buildings. So I've been around schools, you know, and coming here, I noticed pretty quickly that the schools are dated. Yep. You know, they're 1960s, 1950s schools. They've been added on to kind of like the classical.
Except for the high school. Now.
Right, except for the high
newer.
school, absolutely, and you can tell walking through it.
Right.
But when you look at a school like Warren or Mendez, or even the middle school, it's almost like that classic New England farmhouse that mm-hmm. as the family grew, yep. a new wing of the house came
added.
on,
yeah.
right? So
yeah.
that's, it's typical, but it's a challenge in that systems are mixed, you know, mm-hmm. they're dated differently. Right. It's typical, it's a challenge, but I can say that most of the buildings here, you know, to use a not so official term in my world, they're not driven into the ground. You
right.
know, there's been investments made. Right, yeah. There's been investments made. There's the clientele, meaning the students and the people that work within the building, respect the building mm-hmm. more than I've seen in other areas.
That's nice
so
to
that's
hear.
great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it's a great atmosphere, and sometimes that's a challenge, you know, getting people to respect the building
Right.
as an asset to the town and to the people. So that's been a great positive here.
Now, the other difference with your job is that you not only manage our school buildings, but you manage all
Yeah.
town-owned buildings.
Yeah, and that's been a slight change for me, but I've been doing this for quite some time in either the medical field, education, and a building is a building. So regardless of what happens within it, buildings function the same, and the only difference is that a school needs more cleaning attention because it's used so much. There's so many people in it, you know, in the turnover. So taking on the town buildings hasn't been difficult. It's just been more square footage. So, and it's great to see that you've taken some historic buildings like the town hall and continued to make them what they should be, you know, and utilized by the public. So that's been great.
So tell us a little bit, Joe, how did you wind up here in Ashland? What's some of your background?
Well, I was, you know, raised in Worcester, and after graduating, I went into the Navy. I was in the Navy for 10 years.
Okay.
After coming out of the Navy, I was looking at either going into law enforcement, which was my training, or firefighting. And it just happened that it's almost a family business. My uncle and my brother are both facilities managers.
Oh, interesting.
So the opportunity came about, and I got into it fairly easy, looking for a job coming out of the service. And I just ran with it. And I really enjoy the, you know, the direct results, seeing your hard work pay off, and the customer service side of it, which often gets missed in this industry, is that we are in customer service, you know. So then I was in the healthcare field managing nursing homes for one of the nation's leading companies for nursing homes and specialty hospitals. And they started selling off their properties.
Oh, wow.
So I was charged with having to give the tours and work the real estate, and it didn't take long to realize that if I no longer have 32 hospitals,
To manage and,
they won't need me. So I transitioned over to education up in Fitchburg, and I wanted to move further south, you know, better commute. I wanted to get away from the city so much and into a town atmosphere, and the opportunity came up for Ashland, so I went after it, and it's been a positive move. So
Good.
that's great.
Good. Well, I haven't had a chance to work too much with you, but I've heard great things, and
That's
I
great.
know when I walk through town hall and the schools, they look great. So you and your staff are doing a great job.
Well, it's all them. You know, I don't do any of it. I just make sure that they have what they need. Take care of your people, they'll take care of the building.
Right,
So really, when it comes to any of that work, I can't take any credit at all, except for to say that, you know, if they need something, I do my best to get it for them.
Now, how many people are you managing?
So right now, on the town side, there's 2.5. We have 2 full-time people and a part-time at the library that do all of our town buildings,
Wow.
which is extraordinary, which means we have to rely quite a bit on contractors because they mainly handle the cleaning and the smaller jobs, but it's a large footprint to take care of.
Yeah.
And I want to say that there's 21 on the school side, which is really light for staff.
For some of our buildings, I know that
Right.
they say.
And in some of the buildings, it breaks down to, you know, a person cleaning 40,000 square feet. And if you think about that in
your house.
Right, in your house. So if you have 1,000 square foot home, one person's cleaning 40 houses,
Right.
you know, and the bathrooms and stuff. So
Right,
it can it's tough. And they do an outstanding job with what we ask them to do. And they turn around a great product every day. But it's tough. It's tough numbers-wise, you know, if someone calls out or there's a problem. But people step up, you know, there's a good team here and there's good people.
Yeah.
And I've never had, you know, the statement I hate the most is it's not my job.
Right.
Right? That's not my job.
Yeah, that's not something I think happens here very
No.
often from what I've heard. So.
No, and it's great. You know,
Nice.
if people need to step up, they do so, and they take pride in what they do, which is hard to find.
Great.
You know.
Well, we live in a pretty good town here in Ashland.
I
think.
believe
the people
so.
who volunteer and work and live, you know, they as you said, they take
Right.
pride in what they're working on and what they're doing.
Yeah, and there's a lot of community involvement
Yes.
also, which is great.
Yeah.
You know, our school buildings get used a lot by the community, which is good and bad. It's tough
Right.
for our staff to really keep up and,
Yeah.
and keep things ready all the time. But it's great to see that a town utilizes its assets, because I look at it as, you know, they're not my buildings, they're the taxpayers'
Right,
buildings.
right.
And it's my job to make sure that they're always ready, that they're comfortable, they're safe, they're clean, and to make them available to the people that pay for them.
Right.
So it's great to see that people utilize them. In some
Good.
districts, they don't.
Yeah.
You know, so.
We have so many organizations that are trying to do so many great things here in town, and our schools, as you said, are good
Yeah.
buildings. I mean, the high school is such a gem between the
Absolutely.
space itself and the auditorium and the cafeteria and the gymnasium and
Yeah, and there's
Yeah.
plenty of fields around. I
Yeah.
know. I know DPW has been servicing the fields, and
Yep.
and they've been working hard to
Yeah.
make them ready every day. And the maintenance staff has been helping along with that. And I was surprised when I arrived to find, you know, great fields over at the middle school and at the high school.
Yeah.
You know, so kudos to everybody that takes part on
Yeah.
that. you know.
Good. Well, Joe, before I let you go, there's one question I ask all new visitors to
All
Around
right.
the Clock. It's not too hard. Is there something about you, Joseph Richardson, that not too many people know that you'd be willing to share with my viewers?
Well, I played rugby
Okay, cool.
professionally.
Professionally.
In
Wow.
the Navy for 7 of my 10 years. That was part of my job. I started playing rugby as a freshman in high school in Worcester, and took it right on through the service, and got picked up when I was in Japan to play for the
Wow.
Navy, and that was kind of like almost like Forrest Gump with, you know, table tennis and
Yeah.
ping pong and playing, and it's kind of almost the same thing, to tour and play other services, play other countries, and be an ambassador not only for the sport but also for the nation. So that was outstanding. It
What
was
an
a great
opportunity.
time. Yeah, absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
great.
It was great.
Well, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for your service.
Thank you. It was an honor.
Good. Well, Joe, thank you for coming to Around the Clock. I think we'll have you back in about 6 months as the whole Mindes School Building project gets a little further along.
Outstanding. Yeah,
Just to hear some more information on that.
that'll be an exciting time.
Great. Well, Joseph, thank
Great.
you for coming to
Thank
Around
you.
the Clock.
If stormwater pollution was rubber duckies, it wouldn't matter what went down our storm drains. But it does, because stormwater pollution is not rubber duckies. It's trash, oil, cigarette butts, and pet waste flowing untreated to the sea. That's not good for any of us, because we all live downstream. Clean water, it means quality of life. Think blue, Massachusetts.
It's time for our Around the Town tour. We're going to first go to the Ashland Public Library, where the program Enviroscape was presented. This was a program that offered an opportunity for children and their parents to see how stormwater affects their community and the ground. There was a great hands-on demonstration that showed what it was like when water was poured onto the ground, and we appreciate all those that went, and I hope you enjoy it. There's a rain event that's coming in I'm going to need 2 people to help me pretend that it's raining. From the Ashland Public Library, we're going to head over to the auxiliary station for our police department, where they held a blood drive in conjunction with the Metrowest Medical Center. If you weren't able to make it to that blood drive, please try to reach out either to the Metrowest Medical Center or even the Red Cross and donate blood, as there is a real need right now for blood during this time of year.
Hi, I'm Todd Carter here with Amy Verrill, and we are at the Ashland Police Station over on Route 126 here in Ashland. And Amy, just wanted to ask you a few questions about the blood drive here today. How many people do you think you've had so far?
So we've had a great day today. The people of Ashland have been really great coming out to see us today. We've had at least about 30 people come by, and we've collected over 20 or 25 units of blood today. So actually right now, the most needed that we have here in the Metrowest area at our hospital is O positive. We need O positive is what we're the lowest on right now. We also need O neg and A positive blood types as well. O positive is the most common type, and that's why we need to have a lot of it. And there's 2 times a year that is really slow for blood donations. January is one of them, and July is the other one. So because of the cold weather and everything in the month of January, no one wants to go out and get, do extra stuff and stuff. So our supply is a little bit lower than we would like to see it. So we've had a great day today. It's going to go a long way in replenishing our need.
Awesome. And then something you taught me just shortly before this interview is this is a much more localized blood donation event here today.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So unlike the Red Cross, who can send their blood anywhere, here at Metrowest, we provide the blood that we need for our local facilities here. We provide blood for Metrowest in Framingham, in Natick, and we also supplied some of the blood for St. Vincent's Hospital in Worcester. So overall, we're able to obtain about 90 to 93% of what we need to sustain the hospital just locally without having to go outside or call the Red Cross in for extra blood supplies.
From the Market Basket Plaza and the blood drive, we're going to now head over to the Ashland High School. This is for the annual Clocker Club Pancake Breakfast. This was the 9th annual breakfast that gets held on Super Bowl Sunday. It's an opportunity to go and enjoy some great pancakes and enjoy just your community and support the Clocker Club. There were some great donations made by various businesses that were then raffled off, and all the money raised and the donations were in support of the Clocker Club. And the Clocker Club is a booster club for all Ashland athletics. So hopefully you got to enjoy those pancakes. We're going to stay at the Ashland High School because not only was there the breakfast going on, but there was also an event happening for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. The Make-A-Wish Foundation is an organization that helps people who are ill and gives them some wishes to help make their lives a little bit better. We have a very large club at the Ashland High School for Make-A-Wish, and they go down to Florida once a year to work for the Make-A-Wish at Disney and help entertain and work and support people and families that are there getting their wishes granted. Congratulations to them on the funds they raised, and we wish them luck moving forward with their group. From there, we're going to head to the town hall. There was a forum held regarding a dog park. Now, this is a committee that I'm on. There's a group of people in Ashland who are looking to start a dog park here in town. We talked about and gave information about some of the research that has been done by the committee. We're looking at a number of locations, and there'll be more forums and more information going out, and we hope to have a location chosen by the end of the summer, and then we can move forward to go for a grant that would help us design it and potentially even build the dog park. From Town Hall, we're going to head back to the high school. There was an assembly held there on Friday, February 8th with representatives from the Dana-Farber Children's Cancer Center. The assembly was held for the sophomores and seniors at the Ashland High School to help them understand what one of their own is going through. Jake Silva, one of the seniors at Ashland High School, is dealing with osteosarcoma. That's a form of cancer. He's been fighting it for quite a while, and this was an opportunity for the students around him to understand what he's going through, but also to see that he's still just like them. He's still a kid. He still wants to enjoy time with his friends. We also heard that a family friend who is running the Boston Marathon is running to raise funds for Jake and his family for the medical costs. If you'd like to help and go to the GoFundMe page, you can go to Running for Jake at Boston Marathon 2018. And all our best wishes go out to Jake as he continues his fight. Well, that wraps up our Around the Town tour for this show. If you ever want us to come to your event, please make sure you reach out to us here at WACA-TV.
If stormwater pollution was rubber duckies, it wouldn't matter what went down our storm drains. But it does, because stormwater pollution is not rubber duckies. It's trash, oil, cigarette butts, and pet waste flowing untreated to the sea. That's not good for any of us, because we all live downstream. Clean water, it means quality of life. Think blue, Massachusetts.
Well, thanks for watching this episode of Around the Clock. I hope you enjoyed our stops for our Around the Town tour. We want to give a special shout out to Jake Silva for the presentation that was done for him and about him at the Ashland High School. If you ever want us to be at your event, make sure you reach out to us here at WACA-TV. Stay warm and enjoy the rest of your February.